Immediate international protection for the Palestinian people is needed not only because the death toll is climbing towards 600 and the injured to 17,000, but because the occupation in itself is an unspeakable violence. This is not only a siege against Palestinian bodies, it is a siege against their water, it is a siege against their land and their property. It is a siege against every aspect of their existence. Armed settlers aided by soldiers attack, carrying out pogroms of Palestinian villages and communities which today are being surrounded by electric fences. Why isn't the Palestinian voice being heard? Why are the conditions of the occupation not exposed? A Palestinian with a camera is endangered because exposure is dangerous to the continuance of the occupation. The occupation is characterized by brutal policies of closure and collective punishment. It is characterized by forced population transfer, and it is ethnic cleansing. How do we stop the violence? By cutting it off at its source, end the occupation. The question is, how do we make manifest the international protection we know is necessary? The international protection which America has vetoed and Israel has refused. We must provide it with grassroots efforts of presence and direct, nonviolent intervention. This is the village of Deir Estia's olive orchard. Canadian-Israeli Neda Golan and German-Palestinian Yasmin Khalil of the International Solidarity Movement chained themselves by their necks to trees in the path of the bulldozer. For this act, Neta and Yasmin were arrested and spent time in Israeli women's prison. One American activist stayed behind to document that the Israeli soldiers threatened to shoot the Palestinians while they were praying in their own orchard. In the West Bank, there is nothing unusual about a roadblock like Quara. Quara is a roadblock which closes off over 30,000 Palestinian civilians in local villages from trade, vocation, education, basic services in urban centers, and even emergency medical treatment. Palestinians, internationals, and Israelis together with tools and bare hands work to dismantle this roadblock. The local Palestinians had asked for our help in solidarity as internationals because for Palestinians living in Area B and C, resistance is not possible, even nonviolent resistance, even freedom of expression in any way, even freedom of any kind. Although we were completely nonviolent and not one stone was thrown, the Israelis responded by arresting 16 activists, and then following their arrests, shooting at the remainder of them with rubber-coated metal bullets, tear gas, stun grenades, and injuring a 72-year-old woman. In the West Bank, nonviolence is met with violence. In Area B and C, when darkness falls, you hide, wondering if settlers are going to attack you or not, wondering if there will be soldiers coming into your village and shooting you on your doorstep, wondering if you're shot on your doorstep, if the soldiers will allow emergency medical vehicles to transport you to a hospital, or whether they will watch you bleed to death and die. This is Bethlehem. It is Easter. Although Jerusalem is just around the corner, in fact, even in walking distance on a lovely stroll, the Palestinians have no right to go there to the church or to go to pray in the mosque. How do we create the pressure needed to make Israel comply with UN resolutions and international law? Provide it with grassroots efforts of presence and direct intervention by ourselves. The question is, how do we find the solidarity necessary to succeed? No one will hand it to us. We will have to build it ourselves. And it won't be easy. There will be challenges, many challenges along the way with the occupation and with ourselves. Today, Palestinians, internationals, and Israelis crashed through the barriers separating them with the intention of crossing together to Jerusalem. Although we didn't make it this time, it was a step in the right direction.
We stood shortage in Jerusalem this time. Next time, be our soldiers. We are back and we will be in there, whether it's a military